Hey again, everybody. It's Lisa, Connecticut Garden Gal. What you're looking at is a box full of cardboard that I grabbed from the same area as I caught the wild worms yesterday. If you didn't see that video, it is the last one I posted before this. I haven't figured out how to put the little floaty links on a video to make it clickable to another video. If I can figure that out, I'll do it. If not, just look for the video about wild worm catching and invasive worm comparison. And there's my dirty shoes from yesterday. I digress. So I grabbed a whole bunch of the cardboard, and I've got here just a plastic, no, actually chicken came in this, and I washed it out. What I'm going to do is spend, until I get tired of it, my time peeling apart these layers. It's literally just, I can't, it's so heavy and wet and just goopy. But that's okay. If you raise worms, you're used to wet and goopy. But I'm going to peel apart the layers and look for guys like this. There's lots and lots and lots of them in here. Yesterday, I found a whole bunch, which is what this bin is. I'm using one of my empty Worm Factory 360s to house these new, I'm calling them wild worms. They're red wigglers, although I did find a worm in there that is not a wild wiggler. It's also not an invasive worm. I absolutely know how to identify those. Let me see if I can even find it. I put them in here, and I used, basically for the bedding, the same cardboard as I caught them in. Because if that's what they were choosing to thrive in outside, and then if that's what they were choosing to thrive in, then that is obviously what they like. And I plopped a tomato right in the middle from my garden. Let's see. And I just put a little bit of coconut in here to give them something. But here's an example of one of the worms that I caught outside yesterday. And, sorry, mosquito just bit me. I jerked the phone. I'd probably have to dig through here a long time to find the unique critter. But it was down deep. It was with the red wigglers, and it's kind of big. It's not a night crawler. But when or if I find it again, I'll take a quick picture of it. It's a beautiful looking worm. Big, unique in shape. Like I said, it's not one of the invasive jumping worms. I've done videos on that, and I'm going to do another. They are a nightmare in this area. But anyway, back to this. I'm going to peel apart layers, and instead of putting them directly in there, I'm going to put the worms in here. And just to show you, give you some idea of what you can get just from your own backyard, I'm going to put a little piece of cardboard in here so they have something to hide under as I catch them. So they're not just, look at my messy mess from the dogs. So they're not just in a clear container freaking out. So, okay, you're going to see the follow-up here real soon. Hey, everybody. Lisa, Connecticut Garden Gal, back. Well, I was sitting on the floor, sorting through cardboard. There's my dirty shoes again. I want to show you what I've done. So I set a timer for 1 hour because I can get carried away in this kind of stuff, and honestly, I can sit here for hours. Yeah, I'm weird. You don't need to tell me what I already know. Thanks. So this is what I haven't gotten to yet. This is some of what I have gotten to. In addition to that bin, this bin, and this bin have all been topped off with a bunch of the shredded cardboard layers. But I wanted to show you what I found. Again, this is based on me setting a timer. There's a ton more in there, I'm sure. But let me get the right light. Okay, now I'm also going to try to zoom in. My phone camera has been being really bonkers lately, so, oh wait, I see a little snail right there. The snail shouldn't be there. Yeah, I found a few baby snails. So, okay, this corner here, well, first let me show you this. Okay, this, I don't have a clue what it is. It is not a black soldier fly larvae. It is not a broken worm. It is some sort of larvae. It keeps moving. It kind of looks like a human when it swallows, the way your throat contracts. It has no legs. I do not know what it's a larvae of. I am so curious. It has 3 segments, and initially when I found it in the cardboard layers, it was sort of thrashing, and now it's not. But it's not dead. It is very much alive. You can see it wiggling a little bit there. And I don't think it's any kind of bee, because it's actually really big, way too big to be any sort of wasp or hornet larvae. And the wasp and hornet larvae, as they are hatching, you can see their legs as they begin to unfold. So if anybody watching this knows what this is, let me try to zoom in more without it getting distorted. If you know what this is, please pop a message in the comments below, because I don't have a clue. I've never seen this thing before. And yeah, at first I thought it was a broken worm, because one end looked like it, and then I saw it all wiggling on the inside, and then I looked and both ends are sealed. There's no pinchers, there's no legs, there's no signs of any wings. It is just something wacky. Okay, so I found dozens upon dozens of worm eggs, and there's just a few here that I picked out just to show you that, including, if you look at the bottom of this video, not the one to the bottom left, but the one above it, that's a big worm egg, and the one above that is as well. So yeah, all those are good things. So now let me get to this little corner. I'm going to go through this. Let's see, I'm going to zoom in. So one thing I wanted to mention that is good, I found tons and tons and tons of springtails. And I inoculated the 3 bins that are in the room with me right now with tons and tons and tons of springtails. They are good. They are very good for worm bins. They're very good overall for the ecosystem, and there's no such thing as too many springtails. So let me try to just move this stuff around a little bit. You're going to see what I found. Now, there's a ton of juveniles in here, and you can see there's still more worm eggs. There are a ton of juveniles, and they're kind of going back into the shredded cardboard, because it's kind of like pulp, because they've been eating at it. But I'm going to try to just move it around a little bit here, and with my big clunky fingers and my terrible phone camera skills, and show you some of the worms that I found today. I'm sure there's some in there. That's not very impressive looking, but I'm sure they're, you can see them sticking out. Okay, so this big guy here, this is the worm I mentioned earlier, that I found a worm and I wasn't sure what it was. It's not an invasive worm. This isn't the same one. I found an additional one. These have, actually really cool looking, but they have, got a couple of hitchhikers on there. They have one end that's kind of like, I don't know, like a shovel nose end. At least when they're fully, what do you call it, shrunk up, not extended. It's got like a point and like a shovel scoop. not doing it right now. And one end is, sorry, what's not cooperating. Worm didn't get the copy of the script. But it's got one end that's flat with a noticeable vein, and the other end is the digging end, I guess. And it's a really cool looking worm. I found 3 actually. You see, I just flipped them over, and the other end is going bonkers. So yeah, I found 3 of those. I'm not sure what they are. They are absolutely not the invasive worms. I did find some invasive worms. They're in a Ziploc bag along with some centipedes I found, both of which I don't want in my worm bin, but makes sense that they were in the cardboard because centipedes eat worms. So since worms were there, the centipedes are opportunistic. Okay, so let me try to zoom in some more. And now you can see the worms, some of the worms that I found. And I mean, this is, this is just sitting. This is an hour's worth of sorting through cardboard layers on my kitchen floor in the air conditioning. And, these are really healthy looking worms. There was an immense amount of castings. I think there is 2 of the other worms I talked about. They seem to have a shovel nose. I don't know if one is scrunched up. Scrunched up. There's a good word. When I find them again, I will show you. Let me zoom out a little bit. But yeah, so this is what I found in an hour. Now, this in itself didn't take me an hour. What took me an hour is being very meticulous. I was pulling apart every layer. The pile there is the spent pile, even though I know I missed some. But I was pulling apart every layer because I wanted to make sure there weren't any things that I didn't want in my bin. And I was more or less identifying how they were living, what they were doing. Yeah, that pink worm to the left is another one of those that's red on one end. He's crawling off my hand right now. And a shovel on the other end. When I say shovel, it's flat on one side, pointy on the other when they're scrunched up. He's not. It's got to be some sort of earthworm, but it's not one that I'm familiar with. Being someone who loves to fish, I've seen just about every worm in this area, and it's not the average earthworm, but certainly not anything harmful. So, yeah, I found lots and lots of springtails, and I found just a couple of centipedes. I found one of the invasive worms, only one, fortunately. I've been destroying them all year, so I hopefully I've made a dent in them. And I found 4 land snails, and of course some roly-poly bugs, sow bugs. They are good. They are a very good asset to your worm bin, and I'm going to do another video just going over that. And so each of my 3 bins, again, that are in here, I took layers of this cardboard that I flattened out and stretched that was sort of more or less inoculated with all the beneficial bacteria and microbial activity of what these wild worms have done, because it can't be anything but good. There were no mites, nothing but springtails. There were no signs of any disease or parasitic infestation. This is just like nature doing what nature does. So, yep, that I'm going to add them to my wild worm bin. I'm going to come up with a unique name for that. And then sort through the rest of that box when I get a chance. I'm going to put it outside until then because I don't want centipedes crawling out all over. Actually, my cats would have a field day with them. But yes, one more time at this weird looking thing here. It looks like something to me out of a cartoon. Let's see. I gotta zoom out. I thought I just picked it up. I did just pick it up. So this is what it looks like. It's got 3 very clear segments. And I don't know if it's something that is going to form into something else, if it's something that is going, like, you know, just releases eggs, if it is like a egg vessel. I don't know. It's not a termite. It has no legs. It's not being active in my hand. Let me put it back down. And it was in between layers of cardboard. It is not a soldier fly larvae, although I did find a few of those, and I added them to my worm bin as well. So this little critter here, oops, sorry, just flicked it. The little critter there is just something I haven't seen before, and I'm really curious as to what it is. So any help would be appreciated, as I always try to identify the things I find if I'm unfamiliar with them. I'm sorry, guys, my hand is really shaky. Yeah, it isn't moving now like it was before, but you did see early in the video how it was moving, almost like rolling on the inside. When I first found it, it looked to me like what a human swallowing would look like. It just like rolled from one end to the other, the motions inside of this thing's interior. Yeah, there seems to be a bottom and a top to it, because there's a certain direction that I can flip this thing and it doesn't like it. Let's see if that's it or not. Oh, I can see one of my gray hairs fell in there. Come on, guy. Which direction is it that got you moving? Well, I do not believe that it's dead, because it was alive just a few minutes ago. But I'm going to put it in like a yogurt container or a mason jar with some of the bedding that I found in it, just because I want to see what it turns into. I have no idea, but it might be something totally boring, uninteresting, and half of you that watch this are going to know right what it was. I don't. So I'm going to zoom out, and you can kind of see it actual size. You can see the cocoons on the right, and this thing, I don't know, it looks like something that they can make a movie out of for a horror creature. And I know it looks like there's pinchers coming out of it right now at the front, or what I believe is the front, but no, that's some marigold flowers that were in this container. So yeah, it's a weird critter. So there's the worms. There's some of the cocoons. An alien being. And oh, I did want to show you this. This is just some of the castings that were stuck between the layers of cardboard. I mean, if you look at the color and the texture and the density, it's unlike really anything the worms inside can produce. That's why worms come from the wild, I guess. So I'm going to put this, I'm going to top some of my plants outside with it. And this pile here that I've gone through, I'm going to put it back exactly in the spot in my yard where it was, because I know there's more worms in it. And, you know, I'm not going to take the time to spend hours upon hours to go through every single shred. So I'll put it back out there and let nature continue its course. And maybe in a couple of weeks, I'll do another peek. There is another huge pile of this cardboard out there that I haven't even turned over yet. So I have a feeling there's going to be a lot more of these guys available. So, yep, I'm going to add them to my bin. And let me know what you think. Comments, questions, hate mail, whatever. I can handle it all. And let me know what Mr. Alien is, if you guys know. It's not a beetle. It feels very much like a worm on the outside, but it's not a worm. So I don't know. And that's it. Have a great day.